nuts.
It's a big problem, right? I mean, we're saying like 90%, or what did I say, 80% of women have low self-esteem. Well, the problem, I think one of the biggest problems is, it's unrealistic expectations of us. We're seeing these pictures on social media. We're seeing these pictures wherever, Sports Illustrated or magazine covers, and no one has cellulite. No one has muscles that jiggle, I mean, Hi guys, I'm your host Megan Van Diepender, and this is the Empowerhood podcast. I am so happy to have you here. Motherhood is hard, and we are going to talk about all of the hard things that just are not talked about enough. So buckle up and enjoy this episode. All right, so we are recording. Hi, Chelsea.
Hi.
How are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. Thank you so much for being here.
I'm super excited.
Yeah, me too.
I'm really excited for you that you're doing this because I love everything that you post online and it gives me inspiration every day. And then when you asked me to do this, I'm like, obviously, yes.
Well, thank you.
Spread the word that you are.
That means a lot to hear that. I love that. So everyone listening today, we have Chelsea Kline here from Chelsea Kline Photography. And today we're going to talk a little bit about body image and boudoir shooting. Am I saying that right?
I say it boudoir.
Boudoir.
Like my mom goes boudoir, like super
boudoir.
Fancy, so
okay. I didn't know if I was saying it the right way. So boudoir, because it's French, right? Okay. So boudoir. So body image and boudoir.
Keep it very American.
I was like, I hope I'm saying this right. But anyway, so before we jump into that, Chelsea, why don't you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you?
All right. So I'm Chelsea. I am 34 years old. I'm a mom of two, wife to my high school sweetheart. And I grew up in Columbia County. That's where I live now. And I'm a photographer. And so I do lifestyle photography and then boudoir, which we're obviously talking about today. And my journey getting here is kind of crazy, a little all over the place, but basically in high school when I was trying to figure out what I wanted to be, because everybody in high school knows what they want to be, right? So it was between nursing and interior design. So two completely different fields. And I am absolutely a creative. Like I need to have a creative outlet. That's just how my mind works. But also the other spectrum, like I love taking care of people, making sure everybody's okay. I'm very empathetic. So during high school, I worked at St. Peter's Hospital. I was a patient care assistant. And so I figured, okay, maybe nursing is what I want to get into. But I also, on the other end, I loved how psychology meets with interior design and how humans function in spaces and how it affects them mentally and emotionally. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll be an interior designer. So with that, one day I had a patient and he was like, you really could mesh the two together someday. He's like, I think you're going to figure it out. And he's always stuck with me. And I'm like, all right, I'm going to figure it out one day. So long story short, my career before this for over 10 years was interior design. I lived and worked in New York City for over 4 years. And after the city, I came back home and worked for an architectural and engineering firm where we designed embassies overseas for the government. We worked on healthcare projects. So I really felt like I was meshing the two together, design and healthcare.
Yeah.
And I was really at a spot where I wanted to be. And I worked really hard to get there. And so then COVID hit. And I worked for a really big firm and I was pregnant with my daughter at the time. And I was like, all right, is this really what I want to be doing right now? I kind of, I feel like COVID really made people second guess where they're life.
Absolutely.
So I actually got laid off because all of our work was government and healthcare. So they had huge layoffs and it really made me think. So I'm like, maybe I'll go back to nursing school. I actually started taking classes for nursing school. Okay. And then talked to a few nurses. A lot of my friends are nurses, and they're just like, yeah, it is not a great time to be a nurse. All right, so maybe I need to go back to my creative side. And so that's when I really, really picked up the camera, and I was like, this is what I want to do. And I just got going with photography and took it from there. And I'm really glad about my decision. I get to stay home with my kids, do my own schedule. So that's really, my life in a nutshell. And like I said, I'm a very creative person, but I've always been interested in our anatomy and how the body works, and psychology. So I really feel like I'm at a place right now where I can combine those two things, like that one patient told me one time.
Yeah.
It's coming full circle. So
yeah, I mean, I really believe in that too, because it's like you got to find what you love and just like make it work, right? And like you kind of mesh them together, and now you're doing that. Exactly. Now, so with Boudoir, so you said that's your passion. Now, why is that your passion?
So first and foremost, I love empowering women, making them feel good. Everybody has, I don't want to say everybody, but there's a lot of body image issues out there. Everybody's self-conscious. There's a lot of women who are in tough places in their life right now. I have a lot of clients that come to me, and they're just, they're in a tough place. And when they come to me, they open up, they tell me their story, and it's amazing. And then at the end of the session, and when I show them their photos, it is like their life comes back together. It's like you just see a light in their eyes that they've been looking for forever. And I can give that back to them. And I absolutely love what I do, and I'm so passionate about it. And it's not just taking the photos and creating, beautiful photos with our bodies. It's really the behind the scenes, what goes into creating those photos. So that's why I'm absolutely passionate about doing it.
Yeah. I'm going to come back to the body image stuff. Before we do that, can you kind of walk us through, because I know there's a ton of curious women out there just kind of wondering like what happens, right? Like, so from start to finish, walk us through a Boudoir shoot.
So usually I will have someone reach out to me. I always like to get on the phone with potential clients, because this day and age, everybody's texting, emailing, and I feel like it's really nice to hear, the person who is going to be taking photos of you while you're in lingerie. Like, I think they need to hear my voice and hear my personality, and not just someone typing behind a computer screen.
Right.
So I like to get on the phone, like a quick 15-20 minute consult, go over everything. And then from there, if a client signs on with me, I set up a client portal. I provide a list of lingerie companies, a questionnaire, and a lingerie guide. So I really cater each session for them. Every single session that I do is completely different. I am currently renting out or booking Airbnbs to do my sessions. Eventually, I am renovating my barn in the backyard, and that will be my studio. But for now, I book Airbnbs, and they're gorgeous. Like, the lighting is amazing.
See, I had no idea. I thought you went to their house. Okay.
No. So it's definitely a whole experience. So typically the Airbnbs are in like Ghent or Catskill, New York.
I guess you should mention you're in upstate New York, because there will be people listening.
Yeah, so I'm based out of Columbia County. So I serve upstate New York, Hudson Valley area. I have clients who come to me from over 3 hours away. So really, like, Ghent, Catskill is like a good centralized area. So I booked the Airbnbs, and so it's a day of pampering. You come to me, you get your hair and makeup done. So that takes about an hour.
And you book your own stylist, Chels?
Yeah. Yep. So I have a couple women that I usually work with, and they are amazing. So they are like, talk about hype girls. They are amazing. So I mean, they're the forefront. Like, when you come in, you're nervous. Like, it's completely normal. You're nervous. And they really help to calm those nerves. I'm with you while you're getting your hair and makeup done. So it's just it's girl time. We're talking, we're chatting. And that's usually when my clients really open up to me about, their life story, why they're here, why they want to do this. So like I said, that's about an hour. And then shoot time, you probably had, it's usually around like an hour and a half, 2 hours with me.
Okay.
So I like to explain it to everybody as the whole experience is not sexy. Like it's not serious at all. Like I make an ass out of myself sometimes. And I like to keep it light and fun. There's music playing. And I get into every single pose before I have my clients get into the poses. Not every single pose is for every body type. Mm-hmm. So like I said, every single session is different. Okay. And I photograph all different body types, curvy, fit, a lot of my clients are moms. Mm-hmm. So, and one thing that I like to go over with my clients, if there's any areas that they want me to de-emphasize or emphasize, we go over all that before your session.
So that they feel like completely comfortable?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. Exactly. Okay. And then I help go over outfits, which outfits to wear, for each room.
Okay.
So usually it's about like 3 hours total. And then we do a reveal session a couple weeks after the actual session. I do that over Skype and we go over all your edited photos and I help you select which photos.
Okay. That sounds great. Do people come to you for different reasons to do a shoot like this or like what?
Yes. So like I said, every client has their own story. So I have a lot of brides that come to me. Mm-hmm. I've had a lot of women who have lost weight. Mm-hmm. I have a lot of women who plan on losing weight and they want to do a shoot before and they want to do a shoot after, celebrating the body at the different stages.
Amazing.
And a lot of moms come to me and I actually do have couples that come to me as well, which is beautiful. It's not what you think. A lot of people are like, is that like porn? I'm like, no, not at all. Not even remotely close. It's actually really beautiful. And I capture the couples together, just, having fun and enjoying themselves.
Yeah.
Something you can look back on when they're older.
Okay. Now, when people get these sessions done, do they typically like do it? They're just for themselves, right? Mm-hmm. It's not something they share with others or, how?
Correct.
Okay.
So, other than my brides, obviously they're going to share with their future husband. But I always tell my brides, I'm like, this is going to be a great gift for him, but this is a gift for yourself. Right. And you will see because it's amazing. I just had a bride a couple of weeks ago and she literally sent me a message. She's like, I am so glad I did this. I didn't want to do it. I was hesitant. I did it. And she's like, I am so glad I did it for myself because and that's the thing. I help women see themselves in a different angle, a different light. We're so used to seeing ourselves in the mirror or in other pictures that, maybe our husbands are taking or, someone else is taking. And that's the only perspective that we get. But I help women see like what everybody else sees in them.
Right. I love that. Because we don't see that, right? Half the time as moms, you don't even have a picture of yourself,
nope.
Let alone with your kids. That's like rare, to have even pictures with your kids. It's like all the pictures are of your children. But to have it in that perspective too of just you in a way that you want to be portrayed too.
Exactly. Going back to your question.
Oh, yeah, go ahead.
So some of my clients are very private. Mm-hmm. So I have all my clients sign a release. It's a model release saying, no, I don't want my pictures shared, like for my purposes, like marketing on Instagram and stuff.
Right.
Or some clients do this and they post their pictures and because they're so proud and it, I respect either way. And, so some women come to me and they want to show their pictures. They want to show them off. And other women are very private and no, this is just for me. So I get all different ends of it.
Okay. So, really for everyone listening, you can go either way. Like if you just want it to be for you, that's totally fine. And if you do want to, shout it from the rooftops, go for it. I mean, they are very beautiful. I mean, so we met at the Women's Expo, and I thought this was very interesting. So we were right next to each other, and, you know, obviously your setup was like stunning on all your beautiful pictures. Were up and whatnot. But I mean, throughout the day, of course, we see hundreds and hundreds of women. You know, you kind of got every single reaction you could imagine towards your photos. Some were like very curious and, you know, interested in learning more. Others were like appalled. Some were like literally embarrassed. Like they couldn't even go near your pictures. So, I mean, I kind of saw, you know, we're there for hours, right? So it's like you get to observe all these people, and I'm like, this is a lot of different reactions. So, I mean, why do you think that is? Like, is it the body image thing? I mean, I did some research, and it was like, you know, 80% of American women are unhappy with their bodies, which is just, you know, devastating. Is it just they're uncomfortable with sexuality, or, you know, what do you think it is?
I really think it's a mix of everything. So, you know, going into this, I knew that was going to happen. Like, I knew people would not agree with any of this. And you know what? That was perfectly fine. That is, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. The one thing I will say, the people who like just, you know, look the other direction over something like this is because they don't understand. And I wish, like, this is why I'm so excited you're doing this, because it's so much more than me just putting photos of half naked women out there. It is so much more than that. Like, our bodies are incredible. Our bodies are the forefront of our life, like our stories, you know, every woman has a story. And that's what it's about. Like, the pictures, yes, they're sexy, they're beautiful, but there are so many stories behind it. And just if everybody could understand that, like, it would just, you know, it would be amazing, but they don't. And
that's why we're talking about this, though. I mean, the whole point of this podcast is just put stuff out there that isn't talked about. And if you want to do it, great. If you don't, that's fine too. Like you said, everyone has their own opinion. I mean, I know I personally have not done one. I have nothing against it at all. I think it's incredible, and I'm completely comfortable with my body. I think it's more for me coming from like a childhood perspective of like, so my parents were very strict religious people. Like, my dad was the local minister. We were brought up, how do I explain this, to, I mean, not be ashamed of our bodies. That's not what my parents were telling me, but like, we weren't allowed to wear spaghetti straps. We weren't allowed to wear two-piece bathing suits. You know, we were supposed to cover our bodies, I guess you could say. And then, you know, as I got older, it got to the point where, you know, I wasn't allowed to be a part of health class because of like reproductive health and whatnot. I mean, my parents are amazing. I had a great childhood, but, you know, they were just doing the best they could. I don't know if they thought that if I didn't know about it, it wouldn't happen. I don't know. So then, of course, you know how I am with seasons. I went through every season of, like, you know, hot girl era, and then like, you know, trying out my sexuality a little bit. But so I don't know if just unconsciously in the back of my mind, I've just never done it because in my mind, like, I wasn't brought up that way, like, I don't know. So I'm just wondering, like, what else is going on in other people's minds and why they feel so uncomfortable with it. Like, I definitely don't feel uncomfortable. I would do it in a heartbeat. I think it's really cool. And I love how you explain it.
I think a lot of it has to do with, too, because a lot of people can be disrespectful about it, right? Like, a lot of people can be a little overly, like, I don't know how to explain this. Like, there can be creepy people out there, right? Like, it's obvious. Right. There can be creepy people out there. But I think the big thing is my goal is to do it in a way that everybody can respect it. And so far, that's all the feedback that I've gotten. Like, I haven't gotten any creepy feedback or anything because my photos are respectful. Like, you look at my photos and they're art. Like, you can tell it's artwork. It's not just, you know, someone taking scandalous photos. Like, they're not scandalous. They're beautiful. It's artwork. And I think, you know, everybody, like I said, everybody has their own opinion. And I think that comes from people knowing that there's disrespectful people out there. So I think part of bringing this awareness up is that it it doesn't have to be like that, you know? Like it's beautiful. It's beautiful to showcase our bodies. It's beautiful to display our bodies as art and to share our stories behind our bodies.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, so there was one woman at the at the Women's Expo. She walked by with her daughter. Her daughter was probably like 14 years old. Okay. Like I said, everybody is entitled to their own opinion. And my photos that I put up there were not, I mean, you can attest to this. They were not like risky or anything. They were beautiful. And I did that on purpose because I knew that there would be mothers with their daughters walking around. And she walked by my booth, stared at me, and she looked at her daughter, kind of grabbed her a little bit and goes, "That's disgusting." And I had to laugh, but at the same time, I go, you know what? There is such a body image issue in this country, in the world, and have your daughter next to you saying that is disgusting. It's disgusting to empower other women. It's disgusting to show how a woman's body is absolutely beautiful. Like, so that's where it's tough. Like I'm in a tough place sometimes. Like that situation, I was kind of like, it could have been handled differently, you know? You could just walk away.
I mean, I feel like that's like a total trigger. You know what I mean? Something triggered her from, like I said, like maybe a childhood or some uncomfortableness inside herself that, you know, would make her react that way. But I mean, I do think you're completely right. Like, I mean, in our society, it's either like, you know, you're dressed like a nun or you're dressed too scandalous, like you said. And it's hard to meet their criteria, right? And then with social media and stuff. So I feel like you just have to be completely honest and comfortable with yourself to be able to do a shoot like that and to understand it, like you said. I mean, whether you want to do it or not, I feel like everyone has a right to be able to showcase, you know, their body, their imperfections, embrace, you know, exactly what they have. I mean, it's how I want to show my daughter, you know, like, of course, I'm really into like health and fitness, but still it's like we all have seasons, right? And wherever you're at right now, your body is perfect, you know, it's here for a reason, and it's not just to look pretty, you know? So
I have clients that come to me too that they're not ready to do a photo shoot. They're nervous. They're not sure they want to do something like this, but have been curious. And that's part of my job, is to kind of do a little hand holding to like guide you. You know, I tell everybody too, if you do not feel 100% ready to do this, I don't want you to do it. Because first of all, it's going to show in the photos. But with my knowledge and everything, like I do hand holding, and I talk to my clients and I tell them, like, you will never look back and regret doing something like this, because the feeling when my clients leave their sessions, they are feeling like, holy shit, like I am so glad I did this. Like it's something that they have for the rest of their lives, that they're going to hold on to that feeling forever.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that. So back to kind of body image a little bit. So magazines, social media, all of these unrealistic, you know, Photoshop pictures, does this like bother you as a photographer? Like, I mean, I know it bothers me as a human being, but
So I am so glad you brought this up, because I have been debating on putting something out there about Martha Stewart's photos on Sports Illustrated. So
what? Wait, I like live in a bubble.
You haven't seen this?
No, I live in a complete bubble.
Okay, you have to check it out. So first off, I just want to say I think it is amazing that she put herself out there. She's 81, 82, I think.
Okay, good for her.
So I think it's absolutely amazing that she puts herself out there. However, the photos are very photoshopped. Okay. And when you're 82 years old, you have wrinkles. You have wrinkles here. You have wrinkles on your face. I'm sure she uses like top of the line products for her skincare and stuff. But you got some wrinkles. And, you know, I was disappointed in the photos because they are beautiful, but I was disappointed because deep down inside, I'm like, this could have been such an opportunity to showcase your wrinkles, to showcase your body at 82 years old. Like, I mean, she she is beautiful. She doesn't need the photoshopping.
I'm
She
gonna have to
doesn't
look
need,
at these. Yeah,
you have to. And that like kind of, I'm a creative, so I got the juices flowing and everything. So now I'm inspired to do my own shoot. I want to find someone who is 82 years old, and I want to show real features, the wrinkles, like the eyes, like everything. Like you had this amazing opportunity.
Oh my God. You just gave me goosebumps. Yes, you should totally do that. The Photoshop drives me nuts. I mean, of course you want to look good in pictures. It's like no one's going to make you look bad, right? Correct. But it's like you still want to look like you. You don't want to just look completely like a different person. And like you said, like you never lived life.
So I do very light editing. So I have a program that you can choose like how much editing you want to do on it. I do very, very slight editing. And I tell all my clients that. I say, when I show you your photos, it's going to be very light editing. Your stretch marks, I'm going to show you. I want you to see your stretch marks. Unless that's absolutely something that my clients do not want in their photos. Then I take care of it. But I show all my clients their stretch marks, like anything else. Like I want you to see it first, and then I can go back through and edit it out if you want me to. So that's the thing. Like I don't want to do heavy editing. It's nuts.
It's a big problem, right? I mean, we're saying like 90% or what I say, 80% of women have low self-esteem. Well, the problem, I think one of the biggest problems is, it's unrealistic expectations of us. We're seeing these pictures, on social media. We're seeing these pictures wherever, Sports Illustrated or magazine covers, and no one has cellulite. No one has muscles that jiggle, I mean, you talk to any even like the biggest bodybuilder, they probably have cellulite or, their muscles jiggle a little bit, or you have a roll when you sit down. This is like normal things. And when especially young girls who do not understand this, see this, they think they're imperfect and like they are going to constantly try to get to this standard, and it's never going to happen. And that is just like, I'm sure that's devastating from them. And this is where the depression comes in, all these like suicidal thoughts and stuff, because they think they're never going to be enough. And this just breaks my heart. It's just, I think it's a huge problem. And I don't know, I mean, we both have daughters, that was like going to be my next question about your daughter, but like, how do we bring them up in a world like this? Because we can't change Photoshop, right? We can't change social media. So, it's got to start inside, right? In our home.
Exactly.
And, So what are some of the things that you like? I mean, so your daughter's really young, but I mean, how do you describe your work to her? And like, how do you
go about
she'll be
all this? 3. Yeah, she'll be 3 in June. So she knows I'm a photographer, that I take photos, but she doesn't know, like, obviously the ins and outs of it.
Yeah.
But she does, she will watch me get ready and stuff, put my makeup on. She's asked me questions. Mama, why do you wear makeup? I say, because sometimes it makes me feel good, but you know what? There's a lot of days where I don't wear makeup because I also feel good not wearing makeup. Like, it really depends on how you're feeling. And I tell her, I'm like, nobody needs makeup. Everybody is beautiful the way they are. So she does start to ask the questions. And I think, kind of like what you said, you got to be real. Like in today's world, you got to be real about everything. And now, however, my son is 5. So he's really starting to ask the questions and stuff. And he knows, he doesn't know that I'm a boudoir photographer, but he knows that I take pictures of women. And he's like, Mama, why do you take pictures of women? I say, because it's very empowering, meaning it makes them feel good. When you look at a picture of yourself and you feel good, it makes you carry that through the rest of your day, the rest of your life. And I tell him, I show women how it's okay to be comfortable in their skin, where they're at in their life. So I'm starting to explain to him, and I think it is very important to instill it into him.
Right.
And for both my kids, I recently just did a Mother's Day post, and in there I wrote about how if there is one thing that I can teach my kids, right, is to be respectful of themselves, of their bodies, to turn their insecurities into a learning lesson, but also to be respectful of everybody else. None of the bullying crap, none of making fun of anybody. Like, I can't stand that. So I really hope that's like one thing I can press on my kids, and I hope they, take it and run with it.
Yeah, it's so hard. I mean, I did a podcast a couple weeks ago about mental health awareness with one of my close friends, and it came up. It's like, obviously the bullying and all this stuff, but it's like, where do you start with your children, right? Because we got to get to the root cause, because it's not going to work to get rid of guns, like all that stuff. It's like, we have to work at home. That's like what we can't change the world, but we can change what we do in our own home. And of course, we're never going to be perfect parents, but like you said, like, kind of being honest and putting it all out there for them, and helping them be real with themselves. But we have to be real with ourselves too. Right?
Yeah,
it's
exactly.
like you said, she's watching you, and it's like, they don't miss a thing. So, admitting to our mistakes, apologizing, showing them that they can do that too, and that, exactly. We're not perfect. Our bodies are never going to be perfect. We got to just kind of accept them for how it is. But yeah, I think that's so important. So for the future, Chelsea, how do you think you can change the world for women with Boudoir?
I mean, hopefully, like, continue doing stuff like this and just spreading the word, and really, Boudoir is, like I said, Boudoir isn't just, pictures of women in the lingerie. Like, the lingerie is helping to celebrate our bodies, every shape, every size. You look at my Instagram, I have photos of women who are curvier, photos of women who are more athletic. Like, I do it all, and it's so important to showcase it all, because I think if I just continue doing that and, hopefully overpower the other stuff that's on Instagram, the unrealistic stuff on Instagram. And, it's the same with all the other boudoir photographers. Like, we are a strong community, and, I obviously talk with a whole bunch of other boudoir photographers, and we are just hounding it, like, trying to keep what we're doing.
Yeah, I was going to ask you if you know anyone else, because, I mean, if anyone wants to get in contact with you, maybe you could, if they're not in New York, you could send them.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that would be nice. I mean, I do love that about your pictures, though. I feel like everyone's just, like, embracing where they are at right there, and I think that's so important, because, I mean, as a women's health coach, I get so many women that are like, well, I'm not ready to start, today, but, like, I don't know when I'll be ready. But it's like, you can't, you're never going to be ready, right? You just got to kind of take that leap, put yourself out there, embrace where you are right now, and accept that and start right there, because there is no ready, right? We all just kind of jump and start, and you just go with it, and that's how you grow. So I love that about your pictures. Like, it's all different types of bodies, and even though it's all different types of bodies, you can tell they still feel really, really confident. At least that's what I see through your pictures. So
I usually say it's about the 20-minute mark, and then my clients completely open up and they're like, let's do this. I'm ready, because I show photos on the back of my camera throughout the whole session. So it's not like you're left there wondering, like, oh my God, do I look, stupid? Like, how am I looking right now? So I always make sure I show photos on the back of my camera.
Yeah. That's great.
One thing I wanted to say is that, dealing with these insecurities, they're always going to be there. Everybody has insecurities, and like we were just talking, like, you got to be real with yourself. You got to be upfront. And I think the most important thing to remember is that you have to learn, you have to teach yourself how to deal with these insecurities. And it's all situational based. Like, no matter what you're going through in your life, you could have some insecurities from it. So teach yourself how to deal with that. Like, for example, if I don't work out in the morning, I am like, the rest of the day, like, I'm off. Like, I need that workout in the morning to be on top of my game and everything. Like, that's just a small example. But I recognize that. Like, before, I would just be like, whatever, I didn't do a workout. But now I work out and I feel good. I feel good about myself mentally, physically, emotionally. So that's a small example. But like, one huge example, becoming a mom, and I touched touch base on this on my Mother's Day post, but becoming a mom, I used to think that I was lost. I lost myself. Like, that girl's gone forever.
Yeah.
Becoming a mother is the best thing in the world, and it's beautiful. But there is a part of you that you're like, where the hell did I go? And I said in my post, it's not about losing yourself. It is about this journey of continuing to find yourself. And like I said, everything is situational. You go through your ups and your downs, and you have to learn how to deal with it. And that's how you learn how to deal with your insecurities. Like, you have to figure out what works best for you. And, they're not insecurities come and go. And you just,
it really is like a day-to-day thing. I mean, you're allowed to have bad days, and you're allowed to have good days. And I do truly believe, like, when you become a mom, you do have to, like, re-find yourself within motherhood. But it's even better, like you said, because it's like, kids don't really hold you back. They should be pushing you to be better.
Yes.
Because again, like we said, you're their leader. You're raising the next generation, like, no pressure, but, like, they're watching every single thing that you do. So it really is like a kick in the butt. It's like, all right, I'm going to find myself again. I'm going to be better than ever. And, it's not going to happen overnight. It's a lot of work. No. I work with mostly postpartum women, and it's really, really hard. It is. I think I had a horrible time, hence why I'm a coach now. But I think you can totally do it. And I think it's a blessing. It really is a blessing. And obviously being a mom is amazing. Yeah. And I know you're going to get me to do one of these probably in the near future. And I'm totally down. I am.
I would be honored to do it for you. And, it's like, I just get so excited when people come to me and they're like, I've been thinking about it for a while. And, it's just, like you said, it's taking that leap and just doing it. And it's one of those things that you will have for the rest of your life. It is instant gratification over and over and over again. You look at those photos and then you're like, yeah, I'm a badass. Like, let's get going with my day.
Yeah.
It's a bonus for your spouse if you do it for your spouse. And, I don't know. It's really a positive experience. And I love it because I get to work with women. I get to meet all different kinds of women, and they are an inspiration to me. Meeting all these women, and just, I'm in awe of, everything that they go through. Everybody's story is different, and it's amazing. So I really love it. It's great.
Yeah, that's so great. I love it. Where can we find you, Chelsea, on the internet?
So I'm working on my website still, but mostly on Instagram and Facebook. But Instagram, it's just Chelsea Kline __ Boudoir.
Okay.
And I post a lot of my work there. Or you can find me at chelseaklinephotography.com. Okay. And like I said, I have a whole lifestyle page and then a boudoir page too.
Yes. Okay, perfect. I'm going to link that all below. And you did just do our family photos, and I'm obsessed with them. So you're amazing for both. But of course, we're talking about boudoir today. I still cannot say that word. It's been almost an hour.
I know. It's a little tongue twister sometimes.
Where do you see yourself 5 to 10 years from now? Last question.
I don't know. I want to continue to do this, and there's always room for improvement, and I just hope to grow more. And like I said, I just hope to get the word out there, and women love what other women are doing, right? We feed off each other, and I think that is something important to note too. If we can all just start there and be positive with each other, and stop with the nitpicking on other women, like, let's celebrate everything that is good and everybody else, right?
Yeah.
So, and like I said, every woman wants what other women have. So if more women continue to do boudoir sessions, which this is like really up and coming, like it's not a new thing, but it's really coming to light now.
Yeah.
If we continue to do that, like, that would be amazing, and there's so many boudoir photographers out there. And, something important to know is that, you want to work well with your boudoir photographer. Like, you want to get to know your boudoir photographer and feel comfortable. But it's, so that's important. But,
and I would say, like, have them talk about it, even if they don't want to post their pictures. But I mean, like, the whole point of, this podcast is to put stuff out there that isn't talked about. The more you talk about stuff, it's like word of mouth, they're like, oh, you did that's really cool. Like, and it makes other people want to do it too.
Exactly.
Or to at least be encouraged to, like, explore.
Yeah. Exactly. Just continue to put it out there. I'm actually partnering with New Scotland Spirits.
I saw that. Very cool.
They're a local distillery, and so we came up with a campaign, or actually the owner did, and it's called Women Whiskey Too. Okay. So it's this whole empowering campaign for women, local entrepreneurs, just women with different stories putting themselves out there. Okay. And it's kind of talking about highlighting the experience of drinking whiskey and how it can be similar to doing a boudoir shoot. So, right, a lot of people think whiskey is a man's drink, right?
Yeah.
It's not. If you look back into the history of it, whiskey actually was originally a woman's drink. Okay. And so I think, meshing the two, boudoir and whiskey together, it's going to become like a really empowering campaign. And so we're going to highlight different women, different stories, and it's going to be this huge thing, hopefully. But it's another one of those things that keep talking about it, keep putting everybody's story out there. Like, and that it's okay to celebrate your body, and it doesn't have to be done in a scandalous way or anything.
Right. That's really cool. Where can we find that, Chelsea? Is it out there yet?
So we're still working on it.
Okay.
We just did a post like last week, but you can find I think the Instagram handle is just New Scotland Spirits. And they have a website too, but I'm really excited for this because, like I said, we're going to be showcasing all these women, all their stories. So it's really going to be amazing. And then, of course, there's going to be beautiful photos with it. So
that sounds really great.
Yeah.
Cool. So we'll have to keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Chelsea, for being here. I feel like you really informed me on everything as well. Like, I'm so excited.
I know it's a lot of information, and I my mind, like, as a creative, my mind is like all over the place.
Oh no, I'm right there with you.
I tell my clients when I get on the phone with them, like, I'm gonna throw so much information at you right now. Like, stop me if I'm going too far. But it's a lot of information. But I think, like we keep saying, it's so important. It's so important to know that boudoir isn't just these photos. Like, it's so much more than that. You know?
Yeah. I love that. Yeah. That's so great. Yeah. Well, I'm probably going to be your future client very soon. Yeah. It's like anything that's like scares me a little bit, I'm like, all right, I got to do it.
Yeah, right? You just gotta do it. And then afterwards, everyone's like, that was so easy.
Well, isn't that anything though? It's like, oh, that's so scary. And then you do it and you're like, oh, great. I feel great. Yeah. Exactly. Pain sets us free, right? It's like,
exactly. Yep.
Well, thank you so much. I will link everything below for Chelsea. Reach out to her if you would like a boudoir shoot or if you want any information on her photography. Thank you again, Chelsea, and thank you for all of the information. This was amazing.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, I'll talk to you soon. Bye. Bye. Thank you so much for tuning in today. Empowerhood is brought to you by Flourish Everyday Coaching. Check them out in the link below. And again, thank you so much for being here. We really appreciate it. If you could take 60 seconds of your time and leave us an Apple review, this helps share the news about this podcast and help women all over the world. If you want to see the video version of this podcast, you can go to our YouTube channel and subscribe there. Thank you so much, and we'll see you at the next episode.